Thanks for joining us. I'm Rob Lurie, your host for this special program to discuss water. In Tampa Bay, we've spent years talking about water and millions of dollars doing something about it. But it seems that no matter how much we do, there are always more choices, more decisions, and in many cases, more costs. Think of it this way. Water is a resource. No matter where it begins or ends, there's only a certain amount of it. It's our job to decide what water goes where, for what purpose, and with what consequences. And how much are we willing to pay? Here to talk about the quality of water, what's in it, how it gets cleaned, and what can be done with it are Bart Weiss. He's the Division Director for the Strategic Water Management for Hillsborough County Water Resource Services. His responsibilities include managing the largest retail reclaimed water system in the U.S. and the utility's water quality, conservation, and resource protection programs. Bart is a registered professional geologist and has more than 20 years of experience in the water resource industry. Dr. Jörg Drews is an associate professor of environmental science and engineering and director of the Advanced Water Technology Center at the Colorado School of Mines. Aquatech is a research center to advance the research and development of novel water treatment processes and hybrid systems to enable sustainable and energy-efficient utilization of impaired water sources to provide potable and non-potable water supplies. Andrew Salveson oversees reclaimed water technologies at Carollo Engineers in California. He's a licensed engineer whose interests include research and design of water and wastewater treatment systems. Areas of experience include advanced wastewater treatment and disinfection process research, drinking water process research, and advanced water and wastewater treatment planning and design. Our plan is to watch a short video as a starting point for our discussions. We have 4 videos with narrator Carter Lord covering different subjects related to water quality. We'll also take some questions from Hillsborough County water drinkers as well. Up first, Carter's going to talk about the treacherous trip to the tap.
Water, water everywhere, all over Hillsborough County, starting with our beautiful Tampa Bay. Now, I'm not really walking on water, but don't I wish I could dump my jet skis for starters. But I'm here to talk about water and where all the water we use here in Hillsborough County comes from. I mean, in addition to Tampa Bay. Yes, water comes into our homes from taps and hoses. But I mean even before that. Okay, that's better. We have 2 big rivers in Hillsborough County. That's where some of it comes from. And then a lot comes from right under our feet. The huge Florida aquifer. Underground water. And of course, it all starts with rain, filling the swamps, the rivers, and the aquifer. Okay, we're faking the rain here, but you get the idea. The water we use every day is part of a cycle. First, rain falls, flowing into rivers and seeping into the aquifer. Water is pumped from the aquifer and siphoned from the rivers and goes to a treatment plant and then to your house, where you use it for 100 different things. When you're done, the water is flushed, drained, or moved to the wastewater treatment plant. Rainfall, on the other hand, is carried into a drainage system that leads back to surface water bodies where it can be collected and sent to the water treatment plant. Again, some rainfall trickles back to the aquifer and waits to be pumped for our use another day. Some of it evaporates. Some is discharged into bodies of water such as Tampa Bay, where it also evaporates. All this evaporation forms clouds, and soon the moisture comes back to earth as rain. Then the cycle starts all over again. Back in the 6th grade, my science teacher told me our bodies can be up to 80% water. No wonder we're obsessed with it. I like to think I'm mostly Perrier. How, you ask, does this sparkling clean water manage to acquire pollutants? Well, there are 2 ways. Neither one something you want to describe over dinner. One is called point source pollution, like this spot right here. Pretty obvious how this water's getting fouled. I could reach out and touch it, but I'm afraid I'd disintegrate. Then there's non-point source pollution. We get runoff from roads or parking lots or other surfaces, and it's loaded with oil and transmission fluid and heaven knows what else. It runs into a stream, that runs into a river, and right into our waterways. Another problem is us, as in you and me, people. We do more than our part to get chemicals and pollutants into the water. Doesn't make us evil or anything. It's just the way we live. We incinerate garbage and all kinds of stuff we don't want. The stacks have scrubbers in them, but they don't trap everything. Same for coal-fired power plants. We toss all manner of junk into the wind, and eventually each particle latches itself to a raindrop and hitches a ride to earth, into our swamps, streams, bays, and rivers. Every time we fertilize the lawn or try to kill garden pests, we use contaminants that wash into nearby waterways or stormwater drains. Sure, each one of us only contributes a little, but you get enough people doing that, it adds up in a hurry. And even though it's illegal, some people actually dump paint and old motor oil into the sewers. Then there are cars and tractors and lawnmowers and blowers and other machines. They're all part of our lives, and at some point, they all leak antifreeze and oil and transmission fluid. Guess where that heads after a heavy rain? Of course, we humans have help putting stuff into the water that doesn't belong there. Mother Nature adds her own ingredients. The soil contains some things that just aren't good for us, that we didn't put there. You know what they say about bears in the woods? Well, it's not just bears. Nature's wild critters aren't very discreet. Neither are farm animals or your family dog. Water's a complicated issue. We need it for life, for food, beauty, for recreation. It's the most common substance on Earth. Without water, we don't exist, which means we need to understand how we affect the water cycle. We need to know where water comes from, where it goes, and what happens to it anyway. Knowing is the only way to make sure there will always be enough clean water for everyone on planet Earth, which, the last time I checked, included Hillsborough County.
Andy, let's start with how much money could we save if all that foreign material we saw just being pumped into our water, you know, from the pollution sources, the point and non-point sources. How much water could we save if we didn't have to clean it out eventually of our drinking water?
Sure. So it all depends on how much water you're treating to put a cost to it. But you can reduce your levels of treatment dramatically if the cleaner your water supply is. So I could put percentages on it, but it would all depend. 20, 30%. You could reduce a lot of the different treatment components.
That's a lot of money, 20 or 30%. Yeah. But is there a way to stop it? I mean, is there a way? I mean, all those things that we looked at, the air pollution, the runoff from the oil in our car that gets into the storm drain and all that. Is there any way that we could do a better job of preventing that from getting into our groundwater resources than we do already?
Certainly, it's what you're doing here, but the education and the narrator mentioned something you don't talk about over the dinner table. You can ask my children. We talk about it over the dinner table all the time, and they're tired of hearing it. But it's about learning our own individual choices and the impacts of those on our waters. So absolutely, the things.
So is it a matter of individual responsibility or government responsibility, or is it a combination of a lot of different ways to prevent that water from being more polluted than it already is that we eventually treat?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. The government can encourage, but the people have to take the steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bart, there's something new that I think a lot of people don't know, and that is that the Environmental Protection Agency is going to change the rules that govern water quality in the near future. That means that communities may have to treat wastewater to nearly drinking water standards. Pretty incredible. This is wastewater treated to drinking water standards. What does that mean to Hillsborough County residents?